how do we encourage men to take health serious?
I think we have to be candid about the consequences. If you just sit idle and you don't exercise, you watch TVs, you watch those series all day long, you play computer games online or you are trading, it's going to come back to bite you in the foot.
Exercising, I think when it comes to exercising, there are a lot of misconceptions. What is exercising? Can I just walk from my house to the gate? I think Ghana now we stay in farms, so from my house to the gate is almost a kilometer.
And in occupational medicine, we always talk risk. When you enter a room, when you enter everything, you say, what is it that can go wrong in here where we are? So even with health as practitioners, we need to help the public, the nation, understand the risks involved with us continuing the trend we are in.
Yeah, I was interested in different education system. How is it different from ours? Because I'm not comfortable with our education system. I always complain about how it makes us not to be courageous and brave. So how is the difference in terms of the education system? You talked about the rigor.
Yeah, I think what I would say, the BGSE, it's not expansive enough. I think some people, they reach a ceiling pretty quickly in as far as the content that's presented to them. I think the challenge that the educators are having to deal with is that you are tailoring to a wide mix of students. Some of them in there are slow learners. Some of them are not necessarily brilliant at academia, but brilliant at other things, and it takes time for them to catch. And then you've got those very brilliant students who are bored, dare I say, in the same program. So striking a balance within that mix of students, that's the biggest challenge I think we have. Because if you raise the standards, then you are going to cater to the 90th percentile, to the brilliant lot, and then you are going to leave the rest behind. But then if you slow down, then you will cater for the slow ones. Then the brilliant ones are not going to be engaged, they're not going to be stimulated. And then when they transition from here to other programs, you've done them a disservice because they might actually fail and struggle. So I don't know how we can do it. I think there's talk of having vocational training in schools so that people can align with their talents. I think that probably that could be one of the things to consider. But there's one solution for all. We are going to struggle with it for a long time if you don't do something about that.
I think because maybe I'm coming from the field that has psychology. I believe that at some point we need to do rigorous psychological assessments on our students. Because when I look at myself, I started grasping concepts when I was outside the country, where they were teaching us differently, where we were assessed differently. When I was in South Africa, our assessments were not written. It was the assignment, and then you do your oral presentations in terms of examination. And that is where I started excelling. And then I realized that I'm not good in terms of writing, but I'm rather good in terms of presenting myself. So don't you think at some point we need to vary in terms of our education system?
You are right. We need to do something about it. You'd realize that our system, the way it tests the students, it mostly tests them on recall. There are many levels you can test a learner, and then the basic ones usually involve recall either in multiple choice questions or recall in the form of short answer questions. And then only here and there we've got structured questions where you try and examine comprehension, but that's not the bulk of our education system. So we need to move away from that. Even the way we deliver the learning materials. I learned about the human body from, I think, junior certificate from 1 through from 3. That's when I was introduced to systems, organ systems. But I never got to conceptualize it up until I was in medical school. And then I really could see it vividly in 3D, conceptualize what they mean when they say a nerve is moving from the leg and artery is moving from the leg, and how does that blood cell moving from your leg end up going to your heart and returning back to the other leg, you see. So the way we deliver our education is more dietetic, is more theory-based, recall, memorizing. Even the brilliant students, it ends up hindering them because you'd be great at recalling. You can spit out the facts back to me. But when I ask you, what does that mean? How do you internalize that information? Then students, they get stuck quickly. I think it then translates to our marketplace that we don't have people who are solution orientated. No, there is not a large number of them who are solution orientated in the marketplace.
Yeah, I think when you talk about solution oriented, it brings me to this question. When I was reading your bio, you said you are a medical innovator. What is that? Because I think that is a solution.
So I believe that education is the key to success in everything we do. I believe that if you are a patient of mine coming to the clinic, the greatest thing I can do for you is to help you understand whatever condition you are having, so that when you leave the room, you are aware of what's happening, you understand the plan, and you know the timelines and the checkpoints along the road, so that if treatment is succeeding, you can say, oh, we are achieving our results, everything is working smoothly. And then similarly, if treatment is failing, we raise red flags early on. I've got clients who come to me and say, Dr. Victor, I don't want to do medication treatment right away. Can we do lifestyle interventions? Can we look at other options? Then I have to agree, and because it's a team effort, then I have to make you aware that we will do that provided this and this and this are met. I think I might be biased, I might be wrong, I apologize if I am, but I think traditionally we were taught just to treat the symptoms, the illnesses. If you have got BP, I put you on antihypertensives, and whether you understand what's going on or not, then that's just the way it is. But then nowadays, if you come and I explain to you that, Ghana, if you continue with your habits, if your BP continues to escalate, you are cutting off the days of your lives. There I say you might have a stroke right now, and then you will lose everything you've worked so hard for. And usually when patients grasp what's at stake, it's better for them. Let me bring it home in this way. I also did occupational medicine. And in occupational medicine, we always talk risk. When you enter a room, when you enter everything, you say, what is it that can go wrong in here where we are? So even with health as practitioners, we need to help the public, the nation, understand the risks involved with us continuing the trend we are in, the risks at an individual level, a family level, and a national level. Let's take BP or diabetes, any chronic disease. To yourself, it might end up in you losing your virility, you having a mental health condition because you have to deal with that with the chronic condition, and then God forbid you might be cut off from work, or you might not be as productive, which will have consequences to you. So those are the risks which can befall an individual who is not mindful of their behaviors and controlling their NCDs. At a family unit, if you've got mental health conditions, if you are sick, you might feel like you are being stigmatized, you are being marginalized. Violence can come into the family, and then how you treat the kids, because you are always stressed, it can manifest in different ways. In a community, at national level now, the government has to provide a budget for your chronic medication, or if you're in private health insurance, there is going to be a budget that's going to come because of your condition. So bottom line, how does what I'm doing today likely to impact me in the future? I wish I'll be here, I'll be fit, I'll see my kids having kids, and if I'm lucky enough, I'll see those kids having kids, fourth generation. That's all what we wish for. I think what most people would consider to be success in their lives. But then you look at your actions that are going the opposite way.
But now you've made me to think about our behavior in terms of the interaction with medical practitioners. It goes when I go back a little bit back, it was done by the white man. Medical doctors were white men, not only white men, old white men. The interaction was you come in, you tell them what is happening, they treat and you go. And as you guys are coming in, you are saying, let us talk about your illness. And we are not used to that. It is a shock to sit in a room with a medical doctor, to listen to you and you listening to the medical doctor. So it's a new thing that we are now encountering.
Okay. So the word of the day, the word in fashion right now is NCDs. If there are non-communicable disease, it means there must be communicable disease. So the medicine of then, NCDs were not a thing. There might have been a few cases here and there, but their burden on society, on the GDP, on the economy was not that much. We were dealing with communicable disease. We were dealing with your TB, your malarias, your HIVs, and these other waterborne infections, environmental infections. And those ones, infections, we just treat with antibiotics. Because in the 80s, 90s, I was walking to school, so my doctor didn't need to sit down with me and counsel me about exercise because I was playing in the outside in the Kopatlelong. So my playground was very, very large. Right now, my kids banale kwananyana at the homestead where they go and play for 30 minutes, and I have to force them to go and play. Sometimes I forget about them. We were eating. There was mill rice. I haven't seen it in the shelves in a very long time.
And we don't even know how to cook it now.
Exactly. We were harvesting. The rains were falling. We were getting harvest from the farms. From November, December up until April, we would be eating our harvest, you see. So non-communicable diseases were not a thing then. And then it would have been counterproductive for me to talk to you for a very long time about how you protect yourself from TB. Because even the conditions were not as crowded, the densities in towns were low. It was just minimal interventions to fight the problems of then. But then the monster has changed, the problem has changed, and then we have to adapt to today's problem.
Because there's one doctor that I usually see. When he gives me a sheet, this
Prescription.
No, for blood. He will tick and say, you see, you are going to do this test. I'm testing this because I want to see this. And then because you've been on this medication for 3 months, we need to see this. And that makes me conscious of what I eat and what I do every day. And every time I'm always thinking, if I'm going to eat a lot of sugar or I'm not going to be eating how I'm supposed to be eating, that thing will show. In 3 months, it will show my blood sugar content. So he has made me to be conscious of what I eat and also conscious of how I live my life. And I think that is what you guys are doing.
Yes. And then I like how you are narrowing the time. You are saying 3 months. We tend to overestimate how much can happen in a short space, and we underestimate what can happen over a very long time. So if you are conscious about your health over a 3-month period, most likely the needle can move a little bit, but not that much. But then you should be thinking 10 years from now. You should be thinking walking your daughter down the aisle your daughter traveling to get their job to relocate, leaving you with the grandkids, you running around your farm with the grandkids, them coming of age now, you taking care of them, playing football with them. So your goalposts have to be very far from now, because that's what we are dealing with. And we are saying, if you are not careful about what you eat, if you are not careful about your relationships with other people in the community, we need to be mindful and think long term. We need to be mindful of what we eat. We need to be mindful of our relationships with other persons and ourselves. We need to be mindful about whether we exercise or not. We need to be mindful about avoiding harmful substances and drugs. Be mindful about doing our medical checkups, our annual screenings, and most importantly, the one we take for granted, we need to be mindful about taking some time off to rest and how we sleep as well.
Okay. So one of the things that you really like is taking care of the body to take care of your mind. What exactly do you mean by that? And can we also try to push it to how do we deal with, or how do we cope, especially with young men? Because they say we have negative health-seeking behavior. Can you address that in the context of young men?
Okay. I think I've done a lot of reading around mental health, and that's one of my area of interest, because the statistics is there. Everyone knows that four, four times as much men kill themselves than women. But for every single lady who will kill themselves, 4 men are going to kill themselves and succeed. And then the cases of mental health, currently we've got a crisis here, GBV Momotswana. So I've realized that most of this is coming from because men are not well in their minds. Men are very stressed, pressure is too high on them, expectations is high, and we ourselves don't even have an idea of how to best take care of ourselves. So now I think we need to be practical with how we approach things. We need to be realistic with our goals in life. We need to be patient and understand that whatever it is we want to achieve, we can achieve it, but it's going to take time. So a man needs to have a proper structure in his life. You need to exercise, because the hormone that makes a man to be a man is called testosterone, is the hormone of vigor, masculinity. So if you don't exercise, the testosterone is going to drop in your body and you'll get all sorts of side effects, including decline in mental health. So exercise on its own can do a lot of good for men. And then just the behavior and nature of exercising consistently, your reward pathways are going to be stimulated in the body, because it means you are achieving something on a daily basis. Nowadays, the enemy of joy for young men is that they compare their lives to their peers, and most of them have a hard time dealing with that or adjusting to their own circumstances and reality. As men, we need to know ourselves. We need to have our goals, our values, our priorities written down, and then we need to understand how much time is it going to take us to go where we want to go.
Okay. Exercising. I think we, when it comes to exercising, there are a lot of misconceptions. What is exercising? Can I just walk from my house to the gate? I think Ghana now we stay in farms, so from my house to the gate is almost a kilometer. Can I walk that and back home? Is that part of the exercising?
Okay. So exercise has to do with burning the energy that is stored in your body that you consume. So by just living, breathing, blood pumping, those normal exercises, we are burning some of that energy. And then they come in our daily activities of living. When you wake up, you bath, you come to work, you go back home, your routine, your body reserves a certain amount of energy for that. It gets used to it. So initially, if you are working at a new place, you are working longer, it might cause some stress to your body. It might be exercise. But after some time, your body conditions to that and it doesn't feel its effect anymore. So what we call exercise, according to the World Health Organization, they're saying 30 minutes of rigorous activity, which increases your heartbeat slightly, at least 3 to 5 times a week. That's going to do some good to your lungs. That's going to do some good to your heart. Because during those 30 minutes, your heart is stressed. in a safe and healthy way. It's beating a little bit harder. Your lungs are working a little bit harder. Your muscles are also beating a little harder to try and utilize the energy that's found inside of them. So that is what exercise is. So how nagana I walk all the way from home, then I go to work, then I walk back home. If you've been doing that for 15 years, for 10 years, for a year, that's not exercise because your body is used to that. There's what you do outside of your normal routine. 30 minutes to an hour, 3 to 5 times a week. If you do that consistently, it can turn around your outlook, your health outlook in a big way and improve your overall health.
How do we encourage men to take health serious?
I think we have to be candid about the consequences. If you just sit idle and you don't exercise, you watch TVs, you watch those series all day long, you play computer games online or you are trading, it's going to come back to bite you in the foot. You might not see it. It's not going to be like when rain clouds are gathering. But I swear you 10 to 20 years' time, if not 30 years' time, your system is going to begin to crash, to deteriorate. This will come in the form of NCDs like the heart attack, hypertension, stroke, because the more weight you put on, the inactive you are, the more you start to be depressed. It's a vicious cycle of stress and ill health, which ultimately ends up with what? The system crashing. And what happens when the body crashes? That's loss of life. So nowadays we must make it fashionable to be active, to be exercise. Let's go to clubs. Let's use social media positively. Let's share our success, our achievements on a daily basis, and let's change our mindset. They've done it go Middle East actually nowadays. They used to be, because they are wealthy, the Arabs, they used to be very heavy, especially around the abdominal area, until they stopped and they say, who are we going to leave this wealth to if we die and leave the earth early? Are exercise saying, let's change our mindset so that we live beyond 100 years more.
And Japan is doing that very well because it started at kindergarten, primary school, secondary school. They cook healthy food. No one brings in unhealthy food to school.
And then because it's a thriving community, it's a healthy community, society bonds are there. There's no this thing, I'm an emotional eater.
Yeah.
Kind of emotional eaters, it means you eat to live. But whereas you should be, you live to eat. Whereas you should be eating to live for sustenance and going on with your life. But nowadays there's a pandemic whereby if I've had a fight with you, if I've had a conflict at work, I have to get a triple decker with what, and that's going to make me feel better. Then I'm going to crash again, then I have to eat again. We are just eating, and then with food.
I've lost for the first 3 months of the year. I've lost 7 kg.
Well done.
Because I've been mindful of what I'm eating. And I want to now go to exercising. That is the one that I'm still struggling with. But I'm hoping that I'll be going to that because I have a 3-year-old.
So I think the best advice I can give you is that firstly, you have to assess yourself where you are at the moment. And then you just have to start. You don't need to be great to start, but you need to start to be great. So you can start with a 5-minute workout session. You can do 5 press-ups on your knees. You don't have to be on your toes. You can skip a rope. You skip 10 times. Just do something. And then you'll build it up on time. This is when I get it. Because it's 3 months, to do this things for 3 months is useless. Nothing is going to change. Try do it for 10 years and see.
Yeah. All right. We have so many things to discuss. I think we need an hour. I still believe that I want to have you and a dietitian and a psychologist at the same time, where we can show that all these things are interrelated. Because somebody who says I'm an emotional eater, there should be a trigger. Sometimes you'll find that there are underlying childhood traumas that makes people to be emotional eaters. So we need to get this together. So thank you very much for coming. I believe we'll call you again to talk about more on the men's health. I'm interested in that. Thank you very much for coming.
No, thank you for having me. I think guys at home, let's just have positive relationships all around ourselves. Positive relationships with money, with food, with friends, with exercise, with the gym. It's about achieving balance, and that will pay us off daily.
Thank you. Thank you very much for it. It has been an eye-opening conversation. We've talked about taking care of our bodies so that we take care of our minds. We've also talked about how we should not be afraid to explore in terms of our health, how our testosterone get depleted when we are not exercising. And the moment your testosterone is not there as a male, your masculinity is gone. And when that masculinity is gone, the anger, the depression comes in. So let us take care of ourselves, guys, so that we may become better. Thank you.